The city streets shimmered under the glow of Christmas lights, each corner a frozen scene of holiday joy, but inside Daniel Mercer, the warmth seemed impossibly far away. The wind bit at his cheeks as he walked toward the small, cozy cafe where he was supposed to meet his blind date. The kind of blind date that promised excitement, maybe a spark, something that could thaw the loneliness he had carried since his wife passed away 3 years ago. He clutched the strap of his worn leather bag, a nervous energy pulsing through him. Every step toward that cafe felt like walking on fragile ice. And yet, when he reached the entrance, the hostess shook her head apologetically. The woman he had been talking to for weeks never showed up. She had stood him up. A wave of humiliation mixed with hurt slammed into him, the kind that made a man question his own worth. He forced a weak smile, thanked the hostess, and stepped back into the cold night, feeling smaller with every breath of icy air. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the magic of unexpected love, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Stories of Kindness. Daniel's chest tightened as he trudged back toward his apartment, juggling groceries and a heart heavy with disappointment. He had been trying to move on, to rebuild a life not only for himself, but also for his 7-year-old daughter, Mia, who was waiting for him with a hopeful grin and a pair of scissors, ready to decorate the apartment for Christmas. Her innocent excitement collided with his gloom. "Daddy, did she come?" she asked, her wide eyes brimming with curiosity and the kind of trust only children have. Daniel knelt down, forcing a reassuring smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "No, pumpkin. Sometimes people don't show up, but that's okay. We've got each other, right?" Mia nodded solemnly, then wrapped her small arms around his neck. That hug, full of trust and unconditional love, made Daniel's heart ache in the most tender way. He realized then that he wasn't completely alone. He had Mia, but still the sting of rejection, amplified by the festive air around him, clung to his heart. He sank onto the couch, Mia hopping beside him, her tiny hands now occupied with glitter and construction paper. Daniel tried to immerse himself in the Christmas spirit, stringing lights and hanging ornaments, but every flickering bulb reminded him of what he had been hoping for. A night that wasn't just ordinary, a night that might have made him feel alive again. His phone buzzed with messages, most of them work-related, until one caught his eye. It was from his boss, Victoria Langley, the formidable and always impeccably dressed woman who ran the marketing department like a military general. He had always respected her professionalism, though they had never interacted outside of the office. The message read, "Daniel, I know this might sound sudden, but if you're still alone tonight, would you consider letting me join you for Christmas Eve dinner? I feel like someone should look after you." Daniel stared at the message, disbelief warring with cautious curiosity. Victoria? His boss? The thought seemed absurd at first. She was elegant, poised, and all the things he never imagined asking to share a personal moment with. Yet, reading her words again, he felt an unexpected warmth spread through his chest. Maybe, just maybe, tonight wouldn't end in loneliness. The snow had started to fall in earnest by the time Daniel opened the door to their local Italian restaurant, the smell of garlic and roasted herbs wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. He scanned the dimly lit room, nerves fluttering like caged birds, until he saw her, Victoria. She was seated at a table near the window, her presence both commanding and gentle, the soft glow of the candlelight illuminating her features. When their eyes met, she smiled, and in that instant, the anxiety that had been choking him for hours lifted, replaced by a cautious hope. Victoria's voice was soft, but with an undeniable sincerity. "I thought it might be nice for someone to be with you tonight. Mia must be waiting at home." Daniel chuckled lightly, struck by her thoughtfulness. He explained the situation briefly, and she nodded, understanding without judgment. As they talked, the initial formality melted away. She shared stories of her own childhood Christmases, the awkward attempts at cooking disasters, and the small moments that had shaped her. Daniel found himself laughing, truly laughing, in a way he hadn't in months. The warmth wasn't just in the room, it was in his heart, thawing the frost that had settled there. Meanwhile, Mia waited at home, oblivious to the twist her father's evening had taken. She decorated the tree with a careful touch, hanging ornaments that held memories of Christmases past. When Daniel finally returned home, Victoria accompanied him, the snow now settling in soft, sparkling flakes on the street outside. Mia's eyes widened when she saw the elegantly dressed woman stepping inside. There was a moment of hesitation, a child's natural shyness, but Victoria knelt down to Mia's level, her voice gentle, her smile warm. "Hello, Mia. Your dad has told me so much about you. May I help you hang the star?" Mia's grin could have lit up the entire city, and in that instant, Daniel realized something profound. This night, which had begun with rejection, had transformed into something extraordinary. The evening unfolded like a scene from a film. They laughed, shared stories, and Mia taught Victoria how to place each ornament just right, correcting her when the glitter went astray. Daniel watched, a lump in his throat, feeling the heaviness of his loneliness dissolve. Victoria wasn't just his boss anymore. She was a bridge to the happiness he thought he had lost. There was a natural rhythm to their interactions, a connection that seemed effortless yet meaningful. He noticed the small things, the way her eyes softened when she spoke to Mia, the gentle patience she displayed, the genuine interest she took in his little world. And in those moments, Daniel felt something he hadn't dared to hope for in years, love, unassuming and patient, finding its way into the cracks of his carefully guarded heart. After dinner they gathered around the Christmas tree, the warm glow of fairy lights reflecting off the ornaments. Victoria handed Mia a small gift, something simple yet thoughtful, and Mia hugged her tightly. Daniel felt a surge of gratitude, not just toward Victoria, but toward life itself, for reminding him that hope could arrive when least expected. The snow continued to fall outside, blanketing the world in white, but inside, the room was radiant with laughter, warmth, and newfound closeness. Daniel realized that standing up had been a disguised blessing. If his blind date hadn't failed him, he would never have experienced this night of serendipity, this unexpected gift of companionship and kindness. As the night drew to a close, Daniel and Victoria found themselves lingering in the living room, the soft hum of Christmas carols filling the space. He looked at her, hesitant yet honest. "I don't know what to say. I never expected tonight to turn out like this." She smiled, a touch of vulnerability in her eyes. "Sometimes life surprises us, Daniel, and maybe that's when we need to be brave enough to say yes." Her words lingered, not as a command, but as an invitation. He realized that the walls he had built around his heart were slowly crumbling, and for the first time in years he was ready to let someone in. Mia, already half asleep, murmured a soft, dreamy "Thank you, Victoria," before drifting off. Daniel and Victoria exchanged a glance, a silent acknowledgement of the extraordinary night they had shared. There was no rush, no grand gestures, just the quiet understanding that sometimes love and kindness come in the most unexpected forms, changing everything when you least expect it. Before the ending, let's take a moment to honor the quiet miracles of life, the small, unexpected moments that restore hope and bring people together. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Stories of Kindness. Let the magic of human connection remind us all that even in our loneliest moments, there's always a chance for joy, love, and second chances. And as Daniel finally closed his eyes that Christmas Eve, he knew one thing with absolute certainty: sometimes being stood up isn't the end, It's just the beginning of a story far more beautiful than we could ever imagine.